As I said, on Triple J starting tomorrow morning. I'd like to welcome back to Triple J Lisa Mitchell. Hello.
Hi Richard, how are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good, yeah.
Listen, exciting times. A new song to launch to the world. We'll get to that in just a moment. Actually, I just want to fill in a little bit of back history with you because I've spoken to you a couple of times, but you're born in England. What age were you when you moved to Australia again?
I was quite young. I was about 3.
No memories of living in England then?
I remember the park. I remember lots and lots of hedges and being tucked into the stroller.
Your parents both English?
My dad's Scottish and my mum's Australian, but they were over there for a little while.
Okay. How long was your mum living in England?
Good question. I think they would have been there for maybe 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Like that.
All right. So she drove the move back to Australia when you were born?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I think I love London, but I think in terms of lifestyle, Australia is pretty amazing. So I think and Dad, because he's from Scotland, I think when he met Mum in Australia, he kind of just had a bit of an epiphany and just thought, why would I live anywhere else?
Okay, so they actually met in Australia?
Yes.
Right, okay. And you ended up in Albury straight away?
Pretty much, yeah.
That must have been, I mean, being 3, you wouldn't have noticed the transition being that big, but you were on a property, weren't you, outside of Albury?
Yeah, for many years, yep.
So growing up, what was it like?
Great, yeah. I mean, I feel grateful to have had a kind of bush growing up. I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing. I feel like I'm always going to be one of those people that are craving the bush and having to go find a river or an ocean, but I think that's not a bad thing.
So you were a real nature girl?
Yeah. Did
you have your own horse?
I did.
You did?
I was a pony clubber at one point.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, right.
Yeah.
So that was a big activity for you?
Yeah, I loved horse riding.
So when did music start to mean something for you?
I remember there was a film, an English film called The Snowman. Oh, it's just this gorgeous animated film, and there was a beautiful song in it, and it was very churchy. It was actually kind of sounded like Charlotte Church or someone really churchy kind of singing it. And I remember my sister and I used to sing it in these horrible soprano kind of opera voices. And yeah, I remember thinking, oh, I wish I could do that one day.
Who was the first person to tell you you had a good voice?
Well, I think, if you're someone that kind of is in choirs and stuff as a kid, and then you probably know the feeling of getting picked for a solo, or maybe the feeling of not getting picked for a solo. And yes, I remember, I started getting asked to sing like the solo part. And
in your church choir?
Not just my school choir.
The school choir, okay.
But that was, I remember thinking, oh, this is weird, people are giving me attention.
They're picking you out of the crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, fast forward. Now let's bring it up to the modern day. New album. We'll get to that in a moment. But let's just revisit the 2 previous records that you've recorded. This track, of course, was a big one from the first record back in, 2009?
Yeah.
So that one being, of course, Coin Laundry from the Wonder record, which you actually did record in England, didn't you?
Yes. Actually, Dan Hume and I recorded that in Australia in the end, but we did, record a lot of it in London with Ant Whiting.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Speaking of Dan Hume hooked up with you again on the second record, and of course, this was the title track. It was a different sounding second record for Lisa Mitchell, that being the title track. So you recorded that one pretty much all in Australia, didn't you?
Yeah, Dan and I did the whole thing here. Yeah, on the farm. There's his farm, yeah.
Now, you haven't recorded the third album yet. You're going to do that in November.
Yeah.
Are you going to work with Dan again?
No, we're changing up this time. I'm actually co-producing it with a friend of mine, Tim Harvey. So, yeah, it's really a really different approach. And at the moment, we're aiming for a live record. So, yeah, much different kind of way of recording. But
what do you mean live?
Well, I guess, literally having everyone in the room and just having to deal with the fact that it's more difficult to record. But I think the actual feeling of everyone actually being there and the magic that happens, you know, that you can't really recreate when you're just overdubbing things later on.
And that's pretty much what you've done with the first two records. It's very much fragments put together.
I mean, yeah, definitely massive elements have always been live, but there's always been things that we've done later, which I think there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I guess I'm curious to try and capture the actual human magic of just in the moment, you know, like when you do live shows.
The first song from it is actually done. You've already recorded this one. Was this a bit of an experiment to see how it would work?
Yeah, it was kind of a bit of a demo that just kept going, and Tim and I really wanted to just finish it and get it out there. So yeah, I couldn't kind of wait to just kind of reconnect with people again.
Okay, I want to ask you a bit more about this song after we hear it, and also a little bit more about the record as well that you're going to record in November. Lisa Mitchell is with us on Triple J, and tonight on 2014 we're going to premiere her brand new track. This will be on the record, right? On the album?
Yes, definitely.
Even though it's done now and the rest of the record isn't. It's called Waha. Pronunciation right?
Yes, okay. Exactly. Well done.
Wasn't quite sure. Waha is the name of it. Have a listen to it. It's a different sound for Lisa Mitchell. Here it is tonight on Triple J. So you don't actually pronounce it Waha in the song. That's what you're singing at the end, is it?
Yeah.
It's Wahey or something. Or ha. Or something a little bit different.
I liked how you said it. Waha.
Waha, yeah.
I say Waha.
Waha. Okay.
Yeah.
Lisa Mitchell, there it is for the very first time anywhere in the world, the brand new song. You've got it out there into the world.
Yes.
Is it a nerve-wracking process, sort of?
Oh, yeah.
Even though it was just me in the room and you couldn't see anyone else listening to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've listened to that a few times. It's not right, the comparison, but it's something along the lines of Joni Mitchell.
Oh, cool.
I'm reminded of something like early 70s folk.
Yeah, great.
Female singer-songwriter. Are you much of a Joni Mitchell fan?
I love Joni.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a little bit Joni Mitchell?
I mean, I guess I'm influenced by her. I haven't actually thought specifically that song. It sounds Joni, but
No.
I know what you mean. Like it's more of a feeling.
Yeah, there's a feeling of that period of time. But it's not exactly Joni Mitchell, but it kept on sort of reminding me of that era of music. It's a sort of a real gentle moment. Is the rest of the record going to be like that? You said it's going to be a live record with people around you and a band playing.
Yeah.
Is it going to be along those lines?
Yeah, definitely along these lines, of course, because everything's live. Obviously, we've only got organic acoustic sounds. I mean, it's very hard to explain.
But it's not going to be rockier. It's going to be along those lines?
It's very much more kind of, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head with the 70s kind of feeling, because it's definitely, I feel like I've gone back to my roots a little bit more for this album, and I just really wanted to just come back to the songs more and just let them speak for themselves and not kind of go to town on production.
Okay, keep it pretty pure and organic, as you said before.
Definitely.
When did you write Waha, that song we just heard?
I'd say, like somewhere between, like about a year ago, something like that.
I read somewhere that you wrote it on the back of a receipt.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I was driving with my family through just the country near Melbourne, and I don't know, I just had this little moment of, I mean, I always have these beautiful times when I'm with my family, because I think it kind of reminds me of the innocence of being a child. And I remember having this moment, and I wrote down that first line, which is, I spend all my days trying to be okay, but okay comes and goes, and I feel like I'm holding on a little too strong. And yeah, I just wanted to get that down really quickly. But yeah, I mean, I think there is such a pressure, I think, in society to always be okay. And it's a bit of a kind of, screw it kind of song. You know, you just are how you are.
And that feeling came out when you were spending time with your family?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, right.
I think, because I feel safe just to be in whatever kind of mood I am. I don't know, I'm at peace, I think, with existence. And yeah, I think I remember the kind of simple joys in life as well, like things like cooking and going for bushwalks and, conversations that just go for hours.
Because we were talking before about you growing up on the farm in Albury, and your life is very different to that now. You're a city girl, you know, you're in the spotlight, your third album is about to be recorded. So it must be nice to kind of reconnect to what you felt as a kid.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
And that album could be maybe reflecting more of that sort of feeling?
I think so. Yeah, it's definitely a kind of exploration back to basics, I think.
Okay. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
November, you're going to start recording with Tim Harvey, who you mentioned before is going to co-produce the record with you. You're going to try to do a real live record this time round. So probably sometime in the first half of next year, we'll probably see the end results.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay. I'll get you guys something as soon as possible.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for coming in tonight and giving us the chance of playing that song for the first time.
Oh, it's so exciting.
Yeah, it's nice to have some new music from you. It's been a couple of years since your last record, so not a huge amount of time has passed. But even with the second record, when I heard Bless This Mess, it was like, wow, this is interesting progression from the first. It was curious to know where you were heading with the third one, and once again, you've sort of shaken it up. So good luck with it.
Thank you. Thanks, Richard.
And all the best. Lisa Mitchell.
Cheers.
On 2014 tonight, coming up in just a moment, some of Tom York's album, which he put out on Friday night. Yes, no one was expecting it to come, but it did drop to the world. So new music from Tom York, and also